Hey Stampin' friends, welcome to the Joyous Stamping with Rachel. I'm Rachael Coon, and today I have a fun card to make for you using the new Nuts and Bolts stamp set. I even have a special guest, my son Hudson, Coon, who's here to help us make these fun Valentine's Day cards. Go ahead and hold while I flip and we'll get started. All right, hopefully you can see everything okay. Let me adjust it just a little bit. There we go. Welcome, welcome. So you might have saw this card yesterday during my Miss Monday, and this is actually the card I made for my team for this month, for all of my worker bees and queen bees. Super cute and very simple, and it has a flair of little boy / masculinity, and that's why I have Hudson here today to help us make this awesome card. So let me go ahead and show you the supplies that we're using, and then we'll show you how to make it. So I'm using the Nuts and Bolts stamp set, which just came out in today's new catalog, and we have these cute images here, these fun robots, even some little, like, I'm going to call them like square hearts almost, kind of like rough hearts there. Has a happy birthday to you. I'm nuts and bolts about you. Greetings, kind human, and you make my heart go beep. I think this is the perfect stamp set to make little Valentines for all of your little school friends, neighbor friends, or even your kids for themselves as well. All right, so first what I'm going to do is I have this label already die cut out using the Hippo and Friend dies, and I'm going to go ahead and stamp this, and then we'll let Hudson start to color it with our blends. I'm using my Memento ink, which is a water-based black, and I even have an ink refill for this. This is one of the things I highly suggest if you were to get any ink from Stampin' Up, is to get a refill with it. So when it starts to dry out, you don't have to buy a whole new ink pad. You could just add a little bit of ink to the top. All right, so this one should be nice and fresh. I also have this cute little guy here using, he has like a little robot flower even. We're going to ink this up. And then we're going to flip it over and make sure it looks like it's all inked. And we're going to stamp him on the far left side of our label here. Press him down. He looks great. I'm going to flip him over, and Hudson's going to color him right in this corner for us using our stamping blends. All right. So this is a great, like I said, a great stamp set ready and perfect for kid friendly. All right, next we go ahead and grab our little polished pink. This is where it makes it look a little bit more Valentine-y and a little girly too, by having just a splash of color, and I have it in a stitch rectangle. I'll go ahead and flip it down, and I will stamp our saying, which is greetings, kind human. Ink that up in our Memento ink, and stamp that right in the center. Perfect. All right. Hudson's busy coloring away, doing awesome. He's using actually a gray granite, but the card base and my paper that I use is a smoky slate, just a different shade of gray. And I have that as our card base for today, measuring at the 5.5 by 8.5, scored at 4 1/4. And then I have this piece of smoky slate that measured at 4 by 5 1/4. And I went ahead and I ran that through my Stampin' Cut embossing machine with a gingham embossing folder. That is a new embossing folder that I have here. Let me show it to you. It is awesome. It is not a 3D embossing folder. So let me show you how you would sandwich that in your stamping machine. You have a base plate, then you have this, I want to call this an in-between plate. Has number 2 on here, and then you have your embossing folder and the top for it. If you're doing a 3D embossing folder, you would skip this plate right here. But since this one's a little bit more thin, we would just have there, put our paper inside this folder, and sandwich on top and run that through our die cutting machine and come out with our embossed piece here. Super easy, right? Next, let's go ahead and attach that to the front of our card. I like to use liquid glue whenever I am gluing embossed images. You see, you can do either side too. I love the texture on both. Let me go ahead and do it on this side. We'll do a square or rectangle and an X or line through and glue it down, allowing to have some border around all of the edges there. Hudson, you're doing a great job. He's coloring his flower now. Awesome. It's using the polished pink stamping blend and the gray granite for that one. And then let's go ahead and he's almost done. Let's add some dimensionals to the back of our label here. And put, sorry, get that back on screen. There's our 3 dimensionals on this one. He did just a little bit of yellow in the center. And sometimes we will come out of the coloring lines a little bit, and that's okay because Stampin' Up! Has a color lifter. I'm going to let Hudson use this one, and he's going to show us how he has a little spot there, and he could probably fix it. Do you see where it is, buddy?
Yeah.
So there, you can do that one, or you can do the one on the bottom. But because coloring is something that's handmade, it's not meant to be perfect. So if you have little spots you don't... that aren't perfect, that's okay. That's the beauty of a hand-stamped card. All right, you ready to show us how it turned out? Or do you want to add any more color to yours?
Maybe a bit more color.
Okay.
Okay.
So I think it's going over again the same shade and just make it a little darker on the outline. That was one of our favorite things to do, is outline the outside, which you can use either the light color or the dark color, depending on what you have handy. And there's 2 sides, so you can either use the brush side or more of the pen-like side. Oh, he's looking pretty good. What do you think?
I think it's done.
He's ready? Okay, I'm going to show him how he turned out. Here is our cute little robot guy holding his sweet little flower. And look, you can barely even see any of the spots that we went out of the lines with that color lifter down there on the bottom. Awesome job, Hudson. Thank you. All right, to attach them, super easy. Again, using dimensionals. However, I'm going to put dimensionals mostly on the top part here because we're going to have dimensionals on the bottom to help secure that part. So we'll do about 3. We'll flip it over and we'll place it right here on the left side of the card front. Then we'll grab our little bottom stitch rectangle, remove those backings of our dimensionals, and flip that over. We can cover up his little foot just a little bit, but you don't want to go too much. If you wanted to change the color of this, you totally could and make that more of a masculine color as well. Maybe a blue or a green. All right, let's grab our bone folder, flip it over, and crease it. And there we have these 2 super cute Greetings Kind Human, one made by me and one made by Hudson, my 11-year-old son. If you are not a color fan, and some people aren't, and that's okay, or if your kid prefers to cut, go ahead and show us your little cutout guy. You can create little robots by cutting on a darker cardstock or your cardstock color of your choice, and then you cut them out with your paper snips. And I just use a basic black for this one and then cut them out, fussy cut them out. There's Hudson's cute little guy there. So it just depends if you're a color or a cutter. All right, you guys, thank you so much for joining Hudson and I today. I hope you had a great time learning how to make this card and give it a try, either for yourself or for your kids. It's that easy. Happy stamping, everyone. Goodbye.